Who's your emergency contact? Who should we notify in the case of death? Welcome to the USP, where I've spent the last 2+ decades of my life. I'm currently in the SMU program at Lewisburg, Pennsylvania. You know, being stuck in the cell, you have really no choice but to really entertain yourself. But most of it is just going through back through your thoughts and questioning your reality, how the hell you end up here, you know, what's next, what are you gonna do with your life, and so on and so forth. I don't really like to do that because if you're sitting in the cell, stuck, don't know what your future is gonna hold, thinking about your predicament at the time can become depressing and can stress you out. So I try not to do that. But while you're there, you have a lot of, we share stories with each other. Our cellie, I'm cellie with Easy E at the time from Glendale. And being stuck in the cell, you're gonna get, you can start sharing stories about experiences and shit that you've seen. And that's what I want to do with you guys today. One of the things that, some of the things that I've seen are, you can't erase them from your mind. I don't think about them. I don't sit around and think about them or anything like that. But when you do, and you evaluate the situation, like, one of the coolest things that you can do in a penitentiary is go lock up in a cell with somebody and have a knife fight. Like, you guys both know you're gonna go in this cell and only one of you guys might come out. And they have rules in the penitentiary where certain races, certain groups don't allow a one-on-one just because of whatever their politics is. But when it comes to us, Asian Islander, we don't have those rules. If you got beef with one of my homie and you want to see him and my homie wants to see you, you guys can lock up in a cell and do what you do. The only rules we have, we just want to make sure it's a fair one. That's it. Nobody jumps in. Nobody gets involved. Whoever comes out of that cell, that's what it is. So this incident that I'm going to share with you is that with Guamen Yano. Like, me and him, when we started out in Lompoc, we was cool. We hung out together all the time. We were cellies and all that shit. We were good. But down the road, when we got to Victorville, we started having a little friction over some politics, over one of his homeboys and some other issues or whatever. And I ended up having to stab his ass up and almost killed him in Victorville. But back to Lompoc, we were just in the SHU for about 6 months and we finally got out. So when we came out, I think it was like the first weekend we was out or whatever, I'm in my cell brushing my teeth and Yano's getting ready to go out to rec. It was on a weekend. So while we're in the cell, I'm brushing my teeth, he's getting dressed or doing whatever he's doing. This DC dude named O comes to our door and he's like, "Hey, Yano, can I holler at you?" He's like, "Yeah, what's up?" He goes, "Hey man, my bag was next in the laundry." He goes, "Man, I didn't know," because Yano had put his laundry, jumped the line and put his laundry in front of whatever bags of laundry that was stacked there. But when he went out to do laundry, he asked, "Hey, who's next?" And nobody answered, so he put his clothes into the laundry. So O comes up and say, "Hey, I was next in line." And I was like, "Hey man, I asked and nobody said anything. If you want, I'll go back down there and take my clothes out so you can put yours in." But I was like, "Nah, I'm trying to holler at you." Now keep in mind, we fuck with O. O, we used to play on basketball together. Like, we're cool. We're not homies or best friends or anything like that, but we have a rapport with him. So when he's like, "Hey, Yana, I'm trying to holler at you," Yana's just like, "Man, get the fuck out of here, man. We're good. I'll just go grab my laundry and you can put yours in." But O was insistent. O was a little bigger. He was light-skinned black dude from DC. But there's a lot of funny shit with him, with O in particular, because You know, when the DCs got into with the Latin Kings over there, he wasn't claiming like he was a DC car. He was just saying that he ran by himself. But now that this incident that we're having with him in this particular time, now he's claiming to be part of the DC car. So, but anyway, he kept insisting, pushing on Yano, no, I'm trying to holler at you. I'm trying to holler at you. And Yano looked at him, you know, Yano can fight. You know, regardless of whatever transpired between me and him down the road, I'm not going to take anything away from dude from what he was doing while he was, before leading up to that incident. So Yano's like, man, you sure you want to do this? He said, yeah, man, let's go in the room. So I said, all right. So in Lompoc, it's a long-ass tier, about 22 cells on each side with 3 rows. And you can look over the railing on the 2nd and 3rd floor. It's like them old prisons, like the one you see in American Me back in the 90s. So on the 2nd floor, there's an empty room. People go in there to do burpees, work out in there, whatever. It's small. It's about maybe 12 by 12, you know. But usually that room is also reserved for if somebody want to get into it, they go up there, they close the door, a couple people watch the door, and they get it in. But usually people that fight one-on-one are usually homies or blacks that are from the same area. Maybe one's a Crip, maybe one's from the Bay Area, or maybe one's a Blood, or whatever. It's just, but it's from the same group or alliances where, okay, these two dudes beefing it out, got a beef, let them go ahead and lump each other up and they keep it clean. But with our incident, it's 2 different races. It's the Asian Islander and a black dude from DC. But him being black could involve all the blacks. And with us in Lompoc, we're on our own. We're just Asian Islander. We don't have an alliance with anybody else. We don't have an alliance with the Native Americans. That didn't transpire till years later when I was in Atwater. So, you know, when O kept pushing up on Yano, talking about he wanted to holler at him, you know, Yano wasn't sure if he's like, you want to holler and talk, but then the demeanor got to, oh, he's trying to fight. So Yano's like, all right, whatever. So, you know, me, you know, we have homies over there. We had a couple Samoan dudes and a couple Hawaiian dudes. But like I said, when I got to Lompoc, the politics was already in place. But as the months progressed, I find out that the homies over there, as far as the Asian Islander, they didn't check each other's paperwork, and maybe some of them wasn't up to par as far as our standards. So when all that came about, because I'm just a youngster, I don't have no say in any of the politics or anything at the time. And my understanding was when I first got there, I thought we all checked paperwork because I presented mine, here's mine off the bat. But later down the road, that coming to find out during time in Lompoc, the Asian Islander car wasn't perceived as a formidable force because, one, everybody knew that we didn't check people's paperwork and all that stuff. And I guess there was a couple people, older dudes that was there that was suspect, but nobody really said anything because they just kind of left us alone or on our own or didn't have any too much to do with any of us. You know, the group that came in after that, me, Bryson, Billy, and a couple other homies, through the course of our time, we changed the perception of the Asian Islander car. Now, when you run into the Asian Islander car in the pen, it's known that we handle our business and we check our paperwork. So at the time of this incident, you know, there's about 4 or 5 DC dudes in the block. One of them was Joe. Joe and Squeaky end up catching a body in Victorville. They end up killing a Crip dude, Green-Eyed Fish. I forget what hood he was from, but they end up killing him on the yard in Victorville later down the road. And Joe's a big old light-skinned black dude too. So, like I said, it was me and Yano. We didn't really fuck with all the other Islanders or Asians in that block because I don't know what kind of time they're on. But like I said, I was a real good friend with Kojo. Kojo had the security for the Muslim. And me and him are really good friends. So I went over there and let him know what was going on over there. Because he has a Kojo has a lot of influence over the black community, even though he's not from DC or New York or part of the other gang. Kojo's a state prisoner. He's actually a real political prisoner. You know, he was part of the organization, the BLA, Black Liberation Army. His comrade, some lady named Shakur, escaped out of the state prison and is now in Cuba. Kojo and his comrades was in the process of escaping too until somebody told on him. When somebody told on him, the feds came and swooped him up and took custody of him, and that's how he was in the federal prison, when he's actually a state prisoner. You know, I confide in Kojo because one, we're friends, and two, he has influence over the black community. You know, he's well respected. Because the incident that we're about to get into wasn't over anything. And Yano, in the beginning, already told the DC dude, that, hey, man, it ain't that serious. But for whatever reason, wanted to push the line, or he wanted to prove something, whatever, he wanted to see Yano. So they agreed to go upstairs, or just go around, because we're already on the second tier, go around the corner and go into the room. So it's me, Kojo, and Billy watching the door, and it's Joe and 3 other DC dudes watching the door for the DC dude. So Yano and they go in the room to go get it in. So I guess when Yano goes into the room, you know, he's an islander, so he feels like he's better equipped to fight in his bare feet as with his tennis shoes on. So he went down to go take off his shoes. Now, we closed the door. No one else can go in that door. If somebody opens that door, we can all get in a wreck. So when Yano bends down to take his shoes off, steals on him. And they're duking it out. Bing, 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 bing. You know, I'm just watching. It's just, you know, 2 bodies colliding. And I guess Yano was taxing and pulled out a knife. But it wasn't it was a screwdriver. But the tip, it was a flat tip screwdriver. But I guess it hasn't been filed down to sharp. And he's trying to stab Yano with it. But Yano's got a hold of it, piecing him up. You know, for me, it was an understanding that we're cool and this was supposed to have been just a fist fight. So when I seen the knife come out, I'm not gonna let my homie in there get stabbed up. I grabbed the door and popped the door open, but when I did that, Kojo grabbed me, and the DCs they all stood up, you know, straightened up, and it was like, and Kojo's like, no, so they grabbed me, but while the door was open, ran out of the cell or the closet, the room, whatever they were fighting in. He ran out, boom, with the DC. He ran down the stairs. A couple of DCs went after him. And so it's just me, Kojo, Billy, and Yano up there. And I'm just like, you know, because I almost got us in a wreck because I'm seeing that the dude had a knife and shit. You know, for me, I'm gonna go. I'm not gonna sit there and let my homie get stabbed. But when I opened the door and ran out, you know, Yano was upset with me. He's like, man, what the fuck you do that for? Like, shit, that nigga had a knife. He goes, man, fuck that motherfucker. Because Yano was in the process of taking the knife from him. Yano already had the screwdriver in his hand when he tried to stab him and was piecing him up. So in actuality, I fucked up. I ended up saving because Yano would have knocked his bitch ass out and went to work for him. But at the same time, even though I fucked up, I kind of felt like maybe, one, I know I saved O's life because O was getting his ass beat. And two, maybe I saved Yano a case. But still, you know, I just acted on my instinct. But I was willing to open that door and go in and do whatever, and whatever repercussion that was going to come afterward, I was willing to live with it. But like I said, when I popped that door, Kojo wrapped his arm around me to stop the DCs from reacting because they're thinking I'm about to jump in. You know, but anyway, so Kojo goes down there, talks to the DC dudes, while me and Yano, we go get our knives and strap up, and we're waiting by our cell. So when Kojo comes back up, Kojo tells us, hey, O said he's cool. You know, like it's squash. But Yano's mad because O tried to stab him when he thought, you know, like I said, we thought we had a cool rapport with them, that whatever issues that pop up, we could have a conversation. And the issue was just Yano putting his laundry ahead of O. But you know, in the penitentiary, anything small can escalate to you losing your life, depending on what the other person perceive it is, as if you're disrespecting them or if you're just trying to punk them or whatever. And you know, I emphasize little shit can escalate. Well, anyway, you know, Yano didn't want to let it go because Yano was scraped up. Like when he took off his shirt, because we're trying to patch him up, when O tried to stab him, it didn't penetrate his shit, but it scraped his body. Like, you know, it went in like, maybe it broke a couple layers of skin and then scraped him up. You know, and he had like 4 or 5 scrapes on his back and the side of his arm. But Kojo, you know, like, Kojo was somebody that we respected along with everybody else that knew him. So he was like, look, man, let's just let it go. You won. He's got to live with that. And everybody knows now that he's just a fucking lame, because you don't do that with people you fuck with. You know, some little shit like that, laundry over, Yano was willing to take the laundry out and let him put his in. But he, for some reason, whatever that I never got to the bottom of because I didn't give a fuck, that I guess he wanted to try Yano, because Yano been in there, you know, he's been in a few funks. And the few times that he got into it, he knocked the other dude out. And every single time that he's been in an incident was with a black dude. And he been putting it on him, you know, the whole time he was in Lompoc. But, you know, while we were trying to patch up Yano, you know, putting ointments on his scrape and stuff, you couldn't see no veins. Like all his veins like collapsed. Like for whatever, you couldn't see none of his veins, you know, throughout his body, because like I don't know what the cause of it. And that itself kind of made Yano fucking more pissed off. Like he wanted to just go down there and just punish O and kill him, you know. But he respected what Kojo presented, and we squashed it. We let it go. But, you know, the next few days, you know, everybody that was in the block, everybody heard the incident, and they were like, oh, what's up, champ? You know, calling Yano a champ. Oh, he's walking around, busted lip, 2 raccoon eyes, like he got fucked up. And again, I fucked that up. I saved O's life on accident, you know. But again, one of the scariest things that can happen in there that is often is just be willing to go into a cell and deal with whatever's in there. Because us doing this kind of time, us being on this kind of time, we can't duck no wreck. That's just the way it is. Because once you bow out, once you duck, if somebody's calling you out and you duck, then everybody else around you is going to think that you're easy picking. And there's going to be a wave of dudes coming at you sideways, upside down, however. But once they know, even if you go in there in the room and lose or get fucked off, once they know that you're willing to fight for yours, your interests, then they're going to leave you alone. The way to survive in the penitentiary is to always be ready for anything and everything. Welcome to the USP.